guys, it's Tracy and Violet and Boris and Jerry from Tea Time with Tracy and Violet. I was about to say something else. Anyways, I'm here trying to do a few videos all at once because October 1st is almost upon us, and I want to get these videos done and filmed while I have the chance. A few of my kids aren't here right now. A few of them are upstairs. A few of them don't live at home anymore. And my two dogs, Violet and Boris, are actually simmered down. So anyways, I want to jump right into it. I just did a video of my August reading wrap up. And let's do September, because September is just about over. And I'm not going to start any more books before the end of the month because it's too crazy here. But I'm using this teacup today. I used a different one for my other one, but see, there's a little thing in there to like pow, pow. And those pretty, they're kind of like fallish colors. And little backside, gold trim. Yeah, and I'm having some vanilla Earl Grey tea. This pretty teapot. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing 3 videos, I think, so I can drink a whole pot of tea in that time. I plan on doing what I'm going to try to read in October after this, but I want to jump right into it. All right. I started The Last Man Standing. It's a 3-book series. I read the first book. It's called The Hunger, or Hunger. My kids are coming downstairs. Hunger, book 1. Right there. Just hold on a second. Yeah, anyways, this is by Keith Taylor. I've never read anything by him, and I think I just went through a binge of buying zombie apocalypse things, and this is one of them. And it's like, oh, it's a great big book, but it's 3 books in one, and I just have it marked off where the books are. But I am loving this. I'm going to read another one of these books in the month of October, hopefully. But this starts off with, his name is, this interviewer who's interviewing a guy that survived a zombie apocalypse that started over in Bangkok, Thailand. And it just happened there. This guy escaped and is deemed a hero. And, you know, he did what was good for whatever. Like, he was a good face on the tragedy that happened in Bangkok. And pretty much the interview goes on to say, like the guy is saying, it's all fake, it's all fake. That's not how it happened at all. You know, he was the face of the propaganda machine that said it was just, I forget what he said it was, but whatever the government told him to say to the press of what happened in Bangkok. But he's having thoughts. This is, I don't know, a year later, something like that. Thoughts, and he's depressed. Like, he knows he did wrong. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have been a sucker for the man to do that. And this reporter, I forget what his name is taking this interview. He's like, are you sure you want me to do this? He's like, yes, I am. I can't live like this anymore because whatever. So this reporter goes back to the States and is trying to warn people that this guy came out with the truth, what the truth is. Nobody is listening to him. The government's not listening to him. Nobody's listening to him. So he goes to like the dark web or the conspiracy web to try to put that out there. He'd get a few little bites, but nobody did anything. The government gets threats all the time about crazy things, and nobody takes it serious. Well, within that year, it breaks out in New York. And this guy is in an apartment with a girlfriend that he has. He doesn't really love her. He likes her, but, you know, they're not, whatever. And she's gone to the store. He wakes up. There's stuff on the news. Craziness going on. He's like kicking himself, thinking, I should have prepared. I knew this was going to happen someday. It happened in Bangkok. Like, I should have. Oh, and so-and-so is down at the store. I got to go save her. Excuse me. Anyways, he ventures out. He tries to put extra clothing on. He has 1 gun, but, like, he's not prepared at all. turns out, yeah, it's run rampant with this virus or something that happened, and you're either a zombie or you're running for your life kind of thing. And he's running for his life, looking for his girlfriend, and it goes from there. Anyways, it's really well done. The story is fast paced, but you still get the feeling like you could see it all in your mind. At least I can. And it goes on. So, yeah, they're just trying to get out of New York before the government either blast the whole city to pieces, to kingdom come kind of thing, because that was one of the methods that they would, it's one of the plans the government would have done if something like this was to happen, or like to get out of there before they get turned into zombies kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'll talk more about it at some point, but highly recommend at least the first book, and I'll let you know how it goes. Really like it. Another book I read was Paul Tremblay, The Cabin at the End of the World. I've never read anything by him. I do have another book. I think it's Survivor Song. I haven't read that yet. But I really like this book. I know a lot of people have read it and talked about it, but it's about this gay couple that rented a cottage in the woods. I forget if it's Alaska or something like that. I forget. But they're in the middle of nowhere having a family vacation with their little girl, and all of a sudden this man comes out of the woods, and I think there's a movie coming out about that. I don't know, but now I read the book. I didn't read the book because the movie was coming out. I didn't realize there was one coming out, but this man comes out of the woods, and this little girl's outside catching crickets and stuff, and he's really friendly. He's a big burly tattooed guy, but he's really friendly and nice to this little girl. Oh, what are you doing? What are you catching there? Do you want me to help you catch them? And is your mommy and daddy home? Or is your, can I go in and talk to your daddies? And, all this sort of thing. Turns out this man had two other people with him. They just weren't there at the time. And they pretty much confront these two dads with a decision nobody could make in order to save the world. And we don't know. We never know for sure if the world is falling apart. There's things on the news, craziness happening, but you turn on the news these days, there's always something crazy happening. Yeah, it's quite the thriller. This was more I enjoyed it. I got more of a horror-ish feeling than a thriller. I liked it. I did. I would recommend it. I liked it. So, I have another. That's good. Another one, I was trying new authors that I've never read before. Keith Taylor, Paul Tremblay, Jane Harper. I've never read her before. And this is The Lost Man. This is based in Australia, and it's super hot. And I enjoyed this too. This is about a man who was found quite a ways away from his car in the middle of Australia, like the outback. Very dangerous because it's super hot there and stuff. Very far away from his stocked car. His car is full of food and water and everything, all the provisions you would need if you were going in the outback. But he is found very far away from his car. His car isn't tampered or anything. And he's just dead. He's just dead. There's no struggle, no sign of fighting, no nothing. He's just dead. He ends up getting found, he has family around. Where this is in Australia, there's only one police officer, it's way out in the country, I guess. And the guy that died, he has two brothers back at a ranch kind of thing. And yeah, it goes from there. It's quite interesting. It's like a family thriller. You don't know, you need to work your way around if somebody in the family did it, if one of the ranch hands did it, or what. And it's quite interesting. It felt weird. I don't think I've ever read a book in Australia. And I felt like I was there, the heat. And when I think of Australia, I think of the movies I've watched and what the outback is. I don't really know. But I had a good idea, at least, of what it would be like in my mind. So, yeah, I read that one. Have any of you guys ever read Jane Harper? I think I have one other book of hers called The Dry, and I'll read that someday. I like this enough that I would read that for sure. So, another newbie for me is Bird Box. I read this one. I know a million people have read this, and I do have the second book, Mallory. It's not long at all. I really enjoyed this too. I know there's a movie on Netflix. I haven't seen it, but this is basically in the States, I believe. This young girl and her sister, Mallory and her sister, are living together at the very beginning. And there's some sort of something going on in the world. People are just all of a sudden killing themselves and going crazy on stuff. So it catches on that you can't look outside. You can't open your eyes outside, or for some reason you go crazy. So people are shutting the windows, curtains, and all that stuff. You fast forward a few months. It's just Mallory on her own. I won't say exactly what happened. She comes to a house. She was driving a car, I think, blindfolded, just going very super slow kind of thing. Comes to a house that was advertised on the radio. If you're out there, come here. And in this house, there's a few people. And it goes from there. The thing is, Mallory's pregnant. She's pregnant. And she's young. And there's this, they don't know if it's a monster, or if it's in the air, or if it's a person. They don't know. And yeah, it goes from there. Not scary, but almost like a survival story. I enjoyed it, and I do want to read the Mallory one of these days. I do have it. Another one I wanted to try was Mo Hader. I loved this book. This is a Jack Cafferty novel. I think there's 5 or 6 in the series, and I have the whole series. This is about a serial killer. It's like a thriller one, but there's quite a bit of gruesome, gorish stuff in here. Jack is a police officer or an investigator investigating these murders of people that are found, and they're stitched up. They're stitched up and kind of mutilated. They've been sexually abused in death, and they're kind of cut up but sewed back up. Yeah, so it's all about that investigation. I really enjoyed this. I would have jumped into the next one, but I had other books I wanted to read this month. So I really look forward to going into it's not part 2. Like, I think the next book is a different story, but with Jack, you know what I mean? He's an investigator. It'd be like watching one of those CIS or NCIS or one of those kind of shows, you know what I mean? It's the same people, only a different thing. But absolute triggers for this one. If you like serial killer cop stuff with a bit of gore and horror, that's what this is. Nothing supernatural, but yeah, pretty dark and messed up. Really like that. Another new one for me was Jennifer Hillier. She's Canadian, I think. And I really like this one too. Now, let me just think. I should have reviewed these before I started talking to you about them. This is about, I forget what the girl's name is. In high school, she has a group of friends. She's not the most popular one. She's not the most popular one, but she's in like kind of the in crowd. Eventually, like, the popular girl is found dead behind the main girl's house, or behind the dead girl's house. I forget. She was killed somewhere and buried behind her house. And they never find out who did it until 10 years down the road. Things lead to this main character, this girl. At that time, she's engaged to a high money man in a big company. Like, she's well known and renowned. you know, really going places. And, but she's arrested right in the boardroom full of people. And her fiance is like furious, like, don't say anything, I'll get our lawyers and stuff. Yeah, well, no, not so much. She ends up going to jail. This happens right at the beginning. I think she goes to jail for 5 years. Not to say that she killed her. I think like she was an accessory or something. And when she gets out of jail, that's the majority of the story. For some reason, the Calvin is the guy that actually did the actual killing. He escaped prison. She just got out of jail, and these murders are happening again. And she's scared that this Calvin guy is going to come for her. So I really enjoyed this. This was an easy read for me. It was fairly fast-paced, easy to follow. Not nearly as gruesome as something like this, but very, very enjoyable. Just all around good thriller. I really liked it. Really, really, really liked it. So I would definitely read something else by her. Okay, one more new one for me. My very first Dean Koontz. I read Intensity. I've never read anything by Dean Koontz, and this is a very popular one. It's supposed to be so intense, and it is pretty intense. I enjoyed it. This is about... I'm terrible with holding on to names when I'm reading a whole bunch of books all at once. This young girl goes to her friend's house for a sleepover, like home from college for a little bit or something. And while she's there at night, somebody breaks in the house, kills everybody except her friend, who gets kidnapped. The girl that's there as a guest is hiding, so she doesn't get caught. But she sees her good friend get kidnapped by these people, or whoever's there, and taken into like a camper trailer thing. So she goes and hides into the camper trailer to try to save her friend. And the story goes from there. So it is pretty intense. I enjoyed it. I could see this being a movie. Maybe it is a movie. I don't know. I didn't like it as much as, like, I really like that. I really like I don't know. I enjoyed this. I did. The ending was very, I don't know if I like the ending or not. I do. Like, it's a happy ending, kind of. But, I don't know. It just all wrapped up into a bow. And there you go. I did enjoy it. I did. It didn't really scare me. It wasn't intense, like, oh my God. But the crazy guy in this is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I did like when, at the end, I won't tell you, but when things come to a head, I did like that a lot. I really did. Very, very good. Very good. So, anyways, that one. All right. Now, the next 4 books is all in one series. I was determined to try to read a whole series. So, the first one I read was The Red Dragon, Thomas Harris Hannibal series, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and Hannibal Rising. I got all these secondhand, all of them. I wanted to read this because I got, let me go get them just a minute. Because I got the movies. I do have, up in my attic, I have a big attic upstairs, the 3rd floor. I have lots of VHSs and a couple TVs set up there. And I do have Silence of the Lambs on VHS, and I watched that last year. Love that movie, but I have never read or seen any of the other movies in that series. So I got these all secondhand too. So I got Red Dragon DVD, Silence of the Lambs. I do have it on VHS, but I didn't have it on this. Hannibal and Hannibal Rising. And I bought the whole TV series. They're out there. I'm in the middle of watching those now. He's a sexy beast, isn't he? Anyways, I got all those to go along with after I read all the books. I wanted to watch all the movies, just because. But this one, I won't get into all of them. But this one follows Will Graham, and he is he's helping. He's kind of like a detective sort of thing, trying to figure out who the serial killer is, and he's getting a bit of assistance from Hannibal Lecter, who is already apprehended in this book. And the serial killer is, let me just think. Yeah, the serial killer in this, I forget what his name is, but he's kind of a sick son of a gun. He'll kill whole entire families and set them up at tables and things like that. And this book follows him trying to figure that out, which is interesting. But near the end of this, Hannibal Lecter, let me just think. Not a Hannibal Lecter. The serial killer, there's a twist at the very end. And I really like that twist. Now, I haven't seen that far in the Hannibal show. I haven't watched any of the movies yet. But I didn't see that coming. And I really, really enjoyed it. This one and Silence of the Lambs were my two favorite out of the series, honestly. And Silence of the Lambs book is fantastic. Like the movie is with Jodie Foster. I have a girl crush on her. Absolutely. We'll go into that one. It pretty much follows what goes on in the movie for the most part. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should see the movie. It follows a junior detective kind of thing, Starling, and she's sent to try to get help from Hannibal Lecter to find another serial killer. And he won't talk to anybody, but he starts to talk to her, and it goes from there. And yeah, really enjoyed that. This one, it was okay. I enjoyed it. This is when Hannibal Lecter is out and about. Will Graham is mentioned in this one, and he's mentioned in that. He's not really in any other books like he is in the first one. This one I found just a little long, kind of. Maybe it's because I was reading them all back to back to back, and it was just like, that. I enjoyed it. I did. But it was so, there's elements of trying to point the finger at other people in the department, and Hannibal Lecter just having his fun, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, that one. And then Hannibal Rising, I had no idea what Hannibal Rising was about when I read it. Like, none. I was just like, oh, it must be a continuation of that. This is about Hannibal Lecter when he's a child, like where he came from, what his family life was like, and how he became the way he became. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did. The first two were my favorites. This was interesting because I didn't know what this was about at all. And yeah, it took, that's not what I would have imagined him to be like or have experienced. I don't know what I would expect somebody who is Hannibal Lecter to have been like his upbringing to be, but it wasn't really this. But it was interesting to read it. It really was. So that's it. So I have read all of Thomas Harris's. I mean, I'm sure I don't know if he's wrote other books. Maybe he has. I don't know. I'm not that intellectual, I guess. But I did read these ones, and I paid a fraction of the price, all from thrift books. But, yeah, I think that's everything that I read in September. And I had a good reading month. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So not bad. Oh, I just about ended this, and I forgot I read 2 more books. My son-in-law, kind of thing, soon-to-be son-in-law, recommended this book for me. He gave it to me probably a year ago. It's like a middle grade young YA maybe? I don't know. It's Darren Shan. He's the guy that wrote, oh, I forget, Vampire something. I'm not sure, but this has 2 books in it, Lord Lost and Demon Thief, and I don't generally read younger novels, but this was really good. I actually really enjoyed it. The first book has to do with this young boy. He has an older sister, and of course they fight like siblings do. And anyways, the parents, they pull pranks on one another, and he does a prank that goes a little too far on his sister, so he gets grounded for a month. But his grounding is up earlier than normal, and his parents are acting weird, and his sister is acting weird, and he goes to stay with one of his aunts because the parents and the sister have an important thing to go do, but he feels off about it, and he sneaks out of his aunt's house, go back to their house, and he sees horrific things, which it's not described in an adult way, but if you were, yeah, well, he sees his family being brutally murdered, pretty much, and the story goes from there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was impressed. I really didn't think middle grade or, a young book would be like that. Honestly, it was very enjoyable in the sense that it was comfortable to read. It wasn't intense in the sense that you gotta focus so much. Like, it was almost like a comforting kind of horror-ish kind of book. And it has to do with like a demon realm and a human realm and stuff. And then the Demon Thief has some characters from the previous book. I guess there's a whole bunch in this series. I have no idea. It's following this young boy who has a younger brother, Art. He ends up getting this young boy. He can see colors floating around and piece them together, and eventually he opens a doorway, which he doesn't understand what he's doing, and a demon comes through and steals his little brother, and then he has to go and try to find him in this dangerous place, and it goes from there. And I really enjoyed that too. So I could say I read 2 in this, and what I plan on doing, I'm going to send this book back to him. He lives way on the other side of Canada, and I bought The Troop by Nick Cutter. I have a copy of it, but I bought another copy to send him out with this, and I plan on doing like a little book report, like I'm a little kid student kind of thing, just to say what I thought of it. And I mean, I liked it, but just as a gift, and I'll send him one of the books that I like. I don't know how much, I think he reads horror some. He reads more fantasy and stuff. But I thought that was a middle of the grade. I don't want a middle of the road kind of book in the sense of gore factor. I don't want to send an extremely gory thing, but I don't want to send a feathery thing either. So I'm going to send this and The Troop in a book report to my son-in-law and see what he thinks of it. So, all right, back to the outro. Okay, not bad for September, kids starting school and all that jazz and stuff. So, well, I do have one more video to make of what I'm hoping to read next month. So with that, I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose, but if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So, okay, guys, with that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning, and I might see you in a few days. I don't know. One of these times. Bye. Just gonna blink.